Hey folks, today I'm continuing the King's Quest series by playing through the original version of the first King's Quest. This game was originally released in 1984 as a premier game for IBM's PCjr, then eventually ported to other platforms including MS-DOS in 1986, which is this version here. I'm playing this on ScumVM, an emulator for PC adventure and role-playing games. I've configured it to use the PCjr sound device, which has 3 music tracks compared to the single track you would hear on a PC speaker. This isn't a speedrun, just sort of a casual playthrough and with max points. It's also worth noting that games of this era didn't have much in the way of an in-game introduction. It was expected that you would read the manuals that came in the box for a more complete backstory, and they would offer some hints to get started. So, with that, we'll get started. Okay. Very similar to the 1990s SCI version, right? You're out in front of a castle, but obviously a lot lower fidelity. I'm going to run this on fast, which sometimes gets maybe a little bit too fast, but we're going to go with it anyway. Let's look around. Okay, you need to be more specific. That was one of the things with this version of the game is there's not a way to really say just look around the area. Look room, I think, is like the best way to say that. Whereas in other later Sierra games, it's usually just look. Um, so you are standing outside a castle surrounded by an alligator-filled moat. Okay, which is basically what we see here. Slow castle. King Edward the Benevolent, the mighty ruler of Daventry, lives in this castle. Okay. Open door. The huge doors swing open slowly. Okay, the proper thing to do is to bow to the king as we approach. When you bow to the king, to King Edward, his pleased smile warms you. Talk to the king. Okay, wall of text. When you speak to King Edward, he sighs and says, Sir Graham, I'm an old man. I fear my end is near. I have chosen you to prove yourself worthy of the throne. As you know, our kingdom is weak and poor. I have knowledge of the existence of 3 things that would make our kingdom wealthy and strong. Somewhere within our kingdom there is a magic mirror that tells the future. There is a magic shield that will protect the bearer from mortal harm. Finally, there is a magic chest that is always filled with gold coins. Go, Sir Graham, go and bring me back these treasures. If you succeed, you will inherit the throne. Okay. My mouse pointer here. I don't really use the mouse in this version of the game as much as I would on SCI. Okay. All right. Look room. You are in a forest clearing. There's a large rock here. Look rock. You see a large gray rock. Push rock. With a heave and a hoe, you manage to move the rock, revealing a dark hole underneath it. Look in hole. There is an intricately carved dagger in the hole. Get dagger. You reach into the hole and grasp the dagger, being careful not to cut yourself. Look room. There is a very large oak tree here, with branches stretching to the sky. Look tree. This is a very large oak tree with branches stretching to the sky, all right, which is kind of what the last message said. Climb tree. Okay. All right. Now we're in the tree. Look around. Look tree. There is a rather large bird's nest here. Look nest. There is a pure golden egg lying in the nest. Now we're going to change the speed to normal just to make sure I don't fall here. Okay. Get egg. The golden egg is so heavy you almost drop it. All right, we'll take a shortcut out. Apparently you lost your grip while climbing this tree and you fall to the hard earth below. I didn't lose my grip when I intended to fall. Ouch! All right. Look, room. You see an old stone wall surrounding a well-kept garden. Look, garden. This is a well-tended carrot patch. The carrots look tempting to a hungry traveler. Get carrot. You pluck a plump orange carrot from the ground. Okay. Oops. All right, we want to go up here. All right, I have to actually tell it to swim. It doesn't automatically swim. Look room. There is a clear mountain lake and some trees here. Look lake. This is a clear mountain lake with some steep cliffs surrounding it. Look room. There appears to be some sort of bowl on the ground. Get bowl. You pick up the ceramic bowl. All right. Look in bowl. You notice a word on the bottom of the bowl. Okay. Even though it showed me the word, I actually have to read the bowl. It says the word on the bottom of the bowl says fill. All right, so this is what I have in my inventory so far. The dagger, its handle is beautifully carved. The blade is bronze and very sharp. Ceramic bowl. You notice a word on the bottom of the bowl. Gold egg. The smooth golden egg shines brightly in the sunlight. And carrot. This is one of the tastiest looking carrots you've ever seen. Okay, let's head over here towards the river. Here, this is where we want to be. Look room. There are many smooth pebbles next to the river. Get pebbles. You grab a handful of pebbles. Look room. Need to be more specific. I don't think there's much here to see. Look area. Okay. Look room. There is a large walnut tree surrounded by several pine trees. Look tree. The tree is loaded with walnuts. Look walnuts. These are some of the finest walnuts you've ever seen. Get walnut. You pluck a nice walnut from the tree. All right, we have our walnut. Seems to be a good solid walnut. So let's open the walnut. When you open the walnut, you discover the nut inside is pure gold. Now we have a gold walnut. You probably admire your gold walnut. Okay. Going back here to see if I can get the elf to spawn. It's the elf that walks around. I think on both of these screens with him. Magic ring. Huh. There he is. The past few times I played, he was usually here on my first time coming to the screen. So, wandering on the bank of the lake, you see a cute little elf. Talk elf. The elf, impressed by your friendliness, gives you a magic ring. Kind person, know that once, only once, this ring will make you invisible, he says, and then disappears. All right. Let's see. Look room. You notice a hole in the base of a large moss-covered rock. Look hole. When looking in this small hole, you see a faint green glow. Look room. You need to be more specific. More specific than room, huh? Look house. This old cottage is sagging and in great need of repair. Okay. Talk man. Welcome to my humble abode. Talk woman. She replies, I'd like to offer you something, but we do not even have food for ourselves. All right, well, I have food. Give bowl. Puzzled, the couple wonders why you have given them a bowl. And then I say, fill. The couple is amazed and delighted as the bowl miraculously fills with a bubbling stew. As a token of their gratitude, they offer their last earthly possession, the woodcutter's fiddle. So, alternatively, rather than doing it that way, I could have given them a filled bowl and they'd say, thank you for our last meal. At least we can have one more. As if they wouldn't be able to figure it out themselves, too. But they changed that in the SCI version to be a little bit more player friendly. So let's get the fiddle. The polished wood fiddle feels like satin. It seems to still vibrate from the last song it played. Okay. These holes, by the way, I can actually fall in, which is weird. That there's like a deep pit under the house that you can just fall in the hole and die. Okay. Look room. You're in the forest. You can see a stump and a hollow log here. Look in log. It is only a rotted log. Look in stump. Inside the old rotted stump, you notice a small canvas pouch. Get pouch. You notice the pouch feels aged and tattered. All right, so what do we have now? We have a magic ring. The ring is gold with a breathtaking tiger's eye stone perched on top. We have the pouch. The tattered pouch is made of a coarse canvas. The fiddle is fashioned from polished cherry wood. And pebbles. The pebbles are worn smooth by the raging river. We want to open the pouch. Cautiously, you open the pouch and see many sparkling and flashing diamonds. Quickly, you close it again so as not to lose any. Now I have a pouch of diamonds. The diamonds in the pouch glisten beautifully in the light. Okay. All right. Gentle Sir Graham, I am your fairy godmother. Your quest is indeed noble. My small part to aid you can be no bigger than this magic spell, protective but for a little while. I'll be watching over you, Sir Graham. Okay. Look, clover. There is a small patch of clover under the tree. Get clover. Glover. Get clover. The clover is soft, yet you sense a strange strength in it. Now it's a four-leaf clover. We have a perfectly shaped four-leaf clover. All right. Troll bridge. As you start to cross the bridge, a wretched troll appears. Talk to troll. Troll demands a treasure for passage to cross this bridge. No thanks. All right, we'll come back to that. It's a witch swooping through the sky. She's trying to catch you. Look out. All right, that's why I stay towards the bottom. Okay. We are at the well. Look well. The well is deep and dark, but you can see the sky's reflection on the water. Cut rope. With the rope cut, you are able to take the bucket. Lower rope. You're not that close enough to do that. All right, so do that here. The rope descends into the darkness. Climb down. Climb rope. Okay, let's save. Fill bucket. With difficulty, you fill the bucket while swimming. You best be careful, young Graham. The mystic protective spell of mine has weakened and departed. Oh, actually, that probably would have protected me from the witch anyway. I forgot about that. Okay. Dive. And the dragon. Throw water at dragon. The water hits the dragon squarely in the mouth, extinguishing its roaring flames. No fire! How mortified and embarrassed the dragon is. Moving a huge boulder and leaving, the dragon creeps off to sulk. Alright. Get mirror. Carefully, you pick up the magic mirror. And we now have one of the three treasures. As you are holding the magic mirror, you look into it and see a vision of yourself with a crown on your head. Okay. And the water bucket. The bucket is old and weathered. Yeah, so this is something that's a little bit obscure with this version of the game, is that it wants you to leave. It prefers that you leave by going back through this hole. You actually get extra points, 2 extra points for going a hole and 2 more for refilling the bucket when you go in there. Right now it's full of water. I don't understand why. I don't think they do that in the SCI version, if I remember correctly. Okay. Next. Right here by the goat. Open gate. Gate is rather heavy, but you manage to open it. Close gate. Cannot reach the gate from here. Find the gate is much easier to close than it was to open. Show carrot to goat. When you tempt the old goat with the carrot, he starts to follow you. Open gate. Gate is rather heavy, but you manage to open it. I like how they walk in sync. Okay, we have the fairy godmother protecting us again. All right. As you start to cross the bridge, a wretched troll appears. It is a well-known fact that goats hate trolls intensely. I still don't understand where that's from because I've never heard that. You should move aside and let the goat take care of this nasty troll. The goat butts the troll right off the bridge, never to be seen in these parts again. And goodbye, goat. All right. See a crotchety old gnome pacing around his lean-to. All right. Talk to gnome. The old gnome tells you he has something that may be very useful to you. Your task is to guess his name in 3 guesses, and his gift will be yours. Good luck. What is your first guess? So this is also another very obscure solution, an obscure puzzle here. And we saw a little bit in the SCI version. So you would think, because this is a gnome, I think, oh, this doesn't even have the spinning wheel. So it's less obvious that it's Rumpelstiltskin. And in the SCI version, it's there's that note in the witch's house that tells you to think backwards. So you actually have to say Rumpelstiltskin backwards. That note still applies here, which I haven't gone to the witch's house yet, I just realized, but it's it's an inverted alphabet. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever how kids would be able to figure that out, which is thankfully why they changed it in later version. But if you do Rumpelstiltskin on an inverted alphabet, it's this. I think I was only able to get that through like hymn books and things like that. That's right. You've guessed it. That, that, my friend, was more than guessing. Here's some magic beans for your outstanding accomplishment. All right. Get beans. Being very careful. You get every one of them. You place the beans in your pocket. Um, yeah, if you don't get the beans, if you don't guess it correctly, you lose a point for every incorrect guess, and you get a key as a consolation prize that you can use to go up the mountain. Okay, so plant beans. The beans immediately sprout roots that reach deep into the fertile soil. Leaves unfold themselves to a warm, loving sun. A rumbling is felt, and a mighty beanstalk now stretches up into the sky. All right. Um, because I forgot to do the witch, before I go up here, let me go and do that real quick. I will come back. Since it's right here. Okay, the spell wore off. That's out of the way. Eat house. As I begin to eat the house, a squeaky voice from somewhere says, "Nibble, nibble, little mouse, who is nibbling at my house?" All right, so that means that she's home. Let's go back and try. Yum, the house tastes even better than it looks. Nobody talking from inside the house, which means she's not home. Open the door. Open the cupboard. Get cheese. You pluck the Swiss cheese from the shelf. Close cupboard. Look table. There is a note lying on top of it. Get note. Grab the note from the table. Read note. The note reads, "Sometimes it is wise to think backwards." Okay. We're going to wait here for a little bit. Okay. I would have expected the witch to say something at this point, to come back to the house. All right. Let's save. Maybe I have to leave and come back. Oh. Oh, she's home. Okay. All right, not home. Let's stay here. And there we go. Off in the distance, you hear a high, squeaky voice say, "I can smell someone tasty in my house." All right, we'll stand over here. The witch mutters, "I am going to get my oven ready to cook someone for dinner. Yum." Push witch. Courageously, you manage to push the witch into the oven, where she flashes and melts away as into a harmless blob. Congratulations. Okay. Now we'll head back to the beanstalk. All right, climb beanstalk. We will set this to normal and save. Oh, ouch. All right, so that is, if I remember correctly, a difference from the SCI version. SCI, you actually have to follow your hands and where they touch the beanstalk. In this version, you're supposed to follow your legs. And like, for example, my legs just left the beanstalk there. Climb beanstalk. All right, we'll try this again. All right, let's save on the screen. You see it gets kind of weird with your hands up in the air. Save again. Okay, good. I didn't have to guess where to get off the beanstalk. It just let me off here. Okay. Oh, we can speed it up again. Look room. You are in the land of the clouds. It is rumored that a giant lives up here. So with a lot of the solutions to the puzzles in this game, there's like multiple solutions. And really the one that is non-violent gives you the optimal points. Look under tree. You can't do that, at least not now. Look tree. Trunk has a large hole in the base. Look in hole. Notice a sling in the hole in the tree. So get the sling, you reach into the hole and pull out the leather sling. So I have this sling now, leather slingshot. The sling was made by a fine craftsman, and I have those pebbles. I can just use the slingshot to kill the giant, but that is not that won't get you the most points. So you have to hide from the giant and make sure he can't see you. And I was not fast enough there. I'll be a little more careful next time. This giant is mean. All right, let's restore back to here. All right. Ah, I got too close to the tree. The idea here is to stay... We can do this. There we go. The idea is to stay up towards the edge where the giant can't actually reach you because it's too close to the edge of the clouds and behind the tree. And then eventually we'll fall asleep. What luck. The huge giant fell fast asleep. And you get 7 points for that. Alright, so let's get the chest. Very carefully, you slip the magic chest from the sleeping giant's arms. Okay. So now we have magic chest. You admire the workmanship of the beautiful chest. What else do we have now? Anything else interesting? Yeah, the cheese. Swiss cheese looks fresh and moist. Carrot, but or not the carrot, the note. There's a message written on the note. Okay, which I already read that message. This is the alternate way down the mountain. In this version of King's Quest One, there is a dwarf that comes through here sometimes and might steal your stuff, but is much less likely. If I remember correctly, it could still happen, but is much less likely than it was in the other version. All right. Look, mountain. Seems to be a door built into the mountainside. Okay, which the door is open now. That door and that stairway up becomes more important later in a couple games. Okay, where to next? I think we go to the Condor. I think I don't have anything to worry about on the screen anymore since the witch is gone. This is the screen where the Condor normally appears. But I'm not seeing it this time. We have to leave and come back. There he is. High up in the sky, you see a very large, friendly bird. Look, bird. This is a big condor. Its graceful flight appears effortless. Think, am I supposed to jump? I might be supposed to jump. Come on. There we go. Where could this giant bird be taking you? Plop. Ouch. Okay. Look room. Need to be more specific. Look, I don't know, hole? In the depths of the large hole, you seem to sense a faint green glow. Look room. There is a large mushroom in the meadow next to the river. Get mushroom. You reach down and pick a fat mushroom. Look castle. You see King Edward's castle on the horizon. Look river. The stream may not be safe to cross. No, it is not. Okay. Ouch. Talk rat. The rat rasps, treasure, treasure, give treasure or no go door. Give treasure now. Give cheese to rat. It appears you are afraid of the rat. You must get closer to give anything to this rat. Yeah, but we don't want to get too close. So we'll save. The rat drools at the sight of the cheese and snatches it from your hand. You might want to count your fingers. The rat scrambles to the wall and seems to magically merge with it, which is weird. Open door. The door slowly opens. Leprechauns revere the power of the four-leaf clover. With it in your possession, they will leave you absolutely alone. Play fiddle. Leprechauns love fiddle music. Have you ever seen such frenzied dancing? Totally involved in the music, they dance right out of the room. After his followers have danced away, the king of the leprechauns realizes he can lead best by following and leaves, forgetting his beautiful scepter. Okay. Get scepter. Eagerly you pick up the scepter with an R-E at the end. Get shield. You take the magic shield and carefully put it in your pocket. I think that's supposed to be a joke. It is made from titanium and edged with emeralds. And with a scepter, the elegance of the scepter is incomprehensible. Okay. Let's save here. Eat mushroom. As soon as you swallow the first bite, you have this strange shrinking feeling. It's true, you are now no bigger than a mouse. You feel a strange stretching sensation. Oh, you're back to your original size. Okay. All three treasures, time to head back to the castle. That would be funny if on my way back I die in the moat. Okay, open door. The huge doors swing open slowly. And for those final 3 points, we bow to King. When you bow to King Edward, his pleased smile warms you. You move aside as the king steps from his throne. As you approach the throne, the king himself rises to commend you for a job well done. Oh, the king proclaims in pain. From the seemingly lifeless king, you hear these words. "Well done, Sir Graham. You have been a good and faithful servant. Your reward is well deserved. My kingdom is now yours." With those words, King Ember the Benevolent dies. The experiences of your quest will have been invaluable to you as you begin your reign as King of Daventry. Thank you for playing King's Quest. This concludes my playthrough of the AGI version of King's Quest 1. If you made it this far and enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll come back for more.